चक्षुरो मिलितं येन
चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन
तस्मै
तस्मै
श्रीगुरवे
श्रीगुरवे
नमः।
नमः।
श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं
श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं
स्वापितं
स्थापितं
येन
येन
भूतले
भूतले
स्वयं
स्वयं
रूप
रूपं
कदा
कदा
मह्यं
मह्यं
ददाति
ददाति
स्वपदान्तिकम्।
स्वापदान्तिकम्।
वन्देऽहं
वन्देऽहं
श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं
श्रीगुरुं
श्रीगुरुवैष्णवं श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च
कृष्ण करुणा
सिन्धु
सिंधु दीनबंधु
दीनबन्धो
जगतपते
जगत्पते गोपेश
गोपिका
गोपिका
कांता
कान्ता
राधा
राधाकान्ता
कांता
नमोऽस्तुते
नमस्ते
तप्तकाञ्चन
कंचन
गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी नमामि हरिः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो
नमो
नमो
नमः।
नमः।
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य
प्रभु नित्यानंद
नित्यानंद
अद्वैत
गदाधर
गदाधर श्रीवासादि
श्रीवासादि
गौरभक्तवृंद।
भक्तवृंद।
हरे
हरे
कृष्णा
कृष्णा
हरे
हरे
कृष्णा
कृष्णा
कृष्ण
कृष्णा
कृष्ण
कृष्णा
हरे
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 हरे राम
हरे
हरे
राम
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 हरे हरे
हरे हरे हरे कृष्णा
हरे कृष्णा
हरे
हरे
कृष्णा
कृष्णा
कृष्ण
कृष्णा
कृष्ण
कृष्णा
हरे
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 हरे राम
हरे
हरे
राम
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 हरे
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 हरे कृष्णा
कृष्णा
हरे
हरे
कृष्णा
कृष्णा
कृष्ण कृष्ण
कृष्णा
हरे
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 राम
राम
हरे
हरे
राम
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 हरे हरे
हरे हरे हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्ण।
Only one request. What I'm seeing, different people are singing at different times. So I would like now to try to join to the same group. Suddenly, some voice is increasing, someone is lagging. So if you're lagging or if you're ahead, try to adjust it to that line. So that's my humble request. All right. Okay, let's do that for this now. All together. Okay, all together. Start. Narayana
नारायणं
Namaskritam
नमस्कृतं
नरं
नरं
चैव
चैव
नरोत्तमं
नरोत्तमं
देवीं
देवीं
सरस्वतीं
सरस्वतीं
व्यासं
व्यासं
ततो
जयमुदीरयेत्
जयमुदीरयेत्
नष्टप्रायेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
अभद्रेषु
नित्यं
नित्यं
भागवतसेवया
भगवत्सेवया भगवती
भगवतीयुत्तमश्लोके
उत्तमश्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति
भक्तिर्भवति
नैष्ठिकी
नैष्ठिकी
कृष्णाय
कृष्णाय
वासुदेवाय
वासुदेवाय
देवकी नन्दनाय च
देवकीनन्दनाय च
नन्दगोपकुमाराय
नन्दगोपकुमाराय
गोविन्दाय
गोविन्दाय
नमो
नमो
नमः।
नमः।
ॐ नमो भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय ॐ
ॐ नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय
Om
ॐ
Namo
नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna. Okay,
हरे
Prabhu, you can
कृष्ण।
remove the sharing. We'll do a quick revision and then probably I have some slides today. We will share it. Okay, nice to see some new faces again. Not new faces, some, I think Swapnil Prabhu was on a long trip to India. Back, welcome.
Yes, coming back fatter and happier.
Yeah, and Soumya Mataji is up bright over there after a few days of her camera. Yeah, all right. Thanks for all joining. Hare Krishna. Okay, we are in the 8th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1. That's titled The Prayers by Kunti and Parikshit Maharaj being saved. Okay, so we are doing that Kunti Shruti. So it's starting from the 18th verse of this chapter, and we are around 32nd verse today. 33 we have to start. So I thought a quick revision of Kunti's prayer we will see. So as Krishna saved the Pandavas and the child in the womb of Uttara, now he is ready to depart to Dwaraka. So that time, as a gratitude, Kunti along with uh, Uttara and other Pandava brothers, they are coming forward towards Krishna, and then Kunti starts, what to say, offering a prayer. So first she is just telling how the Supreme Lord is. How first she is paying obeisances to the Lord. The 18th verse talks about how she is paying obeisances to the Lord, who is just Antar and Bahar, who is inside and outside. All right, and then she says that you are beyond the senses, you are beyond all the material senses. People want to see Krishna, yeah. Many people in this now become chanting for a few years. They say, I'm chanting for so many years, I can't see Krishna. How's that? So here Kunti Maharani says, how Krishna is covered by Maya, right? And foolish people and how they observe Krishna. Krishna is another ordinary human being, how they see. But Krishna is beyond that. And how the Krishna's devotee, the next verse he's talked about how the Krishna's devotees are covered through the Yoga Maya. You can see some like demons like Duryodhana, Kamsa, they can't see Krishna as a god. They can't see him as the supreme personality of the god. They see him as their enemy, right? And then the other side of it, Yashodamai, Devaki, and what Nanda Maharaj, all these kind of devotees, they see Krishna as their child. They also don't see as a god. So what's the difference there? So how the devotee, that's the loving way, the way connection they have with Krishna. So that's what now she says different people have different way of looking at you. So and there are transcendental, advanced transcendentalists are there. So they are able to distinguish between matter and spirit, and they are able to understand you better. But what as an insignificant woman, I am an insignificant woman, how can I understand you? I'm but then she goes on to say the next section from 21 to 25 verse, she says that how fortunate she was. How fortunate she was. Like, Krishna was born to Devaki and Vasudev. So through that, she is actually her, what to say, aunt. Vasudev's sister is Kunti Maharani. So that way she is very fortunate to have him as her nephew. But she is more fortunate than Devaki and Vasudev because they had 6 children before Krishna. They were all killed by Kamsa. They were all not protected. So Krishna didn't protect them. But she was very fortunate. Then all her children were protected by Krishna. All the Pandavas were protected by Krishna. So she was more fortunate than Devaki. That's what he says. So then she talks about how they protected, how they were all protected. How Bhima was protected when poison was given through him to through cake. Then how there was a great fire in their house. They built a lake house and then they went there. But then how they were saved from that fire, and then how Bhima again was saved from the Hidimba demon. And then how Draupadi was saved during the vicious assembly when all Dushyasana, everyone disrobed her. All these things, how they saved, how they were saved in exile, how they fought the Kurukshetra war, and then Krishna were there on the side, and then how he saved her. And finally, the Ashwatthama released weapon. That time also, Krishna helped to save their family. So she pinpoints all the events that have happened when how Krishna protected them. So she says, let all these calamities, all this struggle, all this problem, let it keep coming to me. So I don't think any one of us will pray like that, but she is praying like that. Let the calamities come so that I would remember you. Your presence will always be there. So that's a high level of prayer. This is the prayer of the Kunti Maharani. Then she talks about in the next section 26 to 28, she talks about how who can approach Krishna. So she talks about Achintana Gochara. So that means he is the he what to say Achintana means Akinchana means that one who possesses nothing. So for that person, what is the path for that? Krishna is only the path. Akinchana goes around. So they are, for them, all the only the path is to go towards Krishna. So it doesn't mean one who possesses nothing means is not the question of being a pauper. You may have everything, but you're not attached to those things. You are attached to Krishna and you feel that's all given by Krishna for you to maintain. That's the only thing that generally people think I am the controller, I everything I belongs to me, whatever you have, everything, but that's all given by Krishna for you. So we all know how what is the process, how based on your karma, what you get, all those stuff. So she calls it that Achintara Kochara is the one. And then for them, what is the wealth for such a people? So he is the Achintana Vittaya. So the next verse she says, you are the wealth. Krishna is the wealth for such people. Right. And then she also tells that Krishna is equal to everyone. So he is the time, he is the controller, he is equal to everyone, but he has a soft corner for his devotees. So that's the one. And then 29 to 31 talks about the inconceivable, way in which Krishna's nature is. Lord's nature is inconceivable. People are put into bewildering. So no one can understand you. So sometimes we see that Krishna is called as Aja, he is unborn, right? But then we see that he is born to Devaki and Vasudev, right? So, so that's all inconceivable. How to understand such things? So she also quotes about the Damodar Leela. So last time, say 31 verse talks about how Krishna, who's feared by even even by Yamaraj. So Yamaraj is under the control of Krishna, who everyone fears of Yamaraj, right? But then under him, Krishna, I mean Yamaraj is there. But then in the Damodar Leela, we have seen how he is fearful for Yashodamai. How his eyes, tears roll out. When we sing the Damodar Ashtakam, we talked about that. So how he is fearful, how he is running from his mother who is having a stick in his hand. So, so these are all the bewildering features of Lord Krishna. And then 32 to 36 talks about what is a general opinion of why Krishna was born. Why Krishna descended, basically, why he appears in this world. So that's why we saw the verse number 32 that Krishna is appearing to glorify his devotees. So specifically here is saying glorifying Yudhishthira Maharaj, glorifying the kings like Yudhishthira Maharaj, and not only that, he is born in the family of Vrishni or the Yadu dynasty. So why he is born in the Yadu dynasty? Because Yadu dynasty had some great pious kings, like even Bharat Maharaj comes from the Yadu dynasty. Such pious kings are coming to that. So he want to make them popular or famous in the world to talk to. So today we are talking about a dynasty. So he wants to make. So that's the reason he's born in the family. Now we can say he's come from the Yadu clan, right? Vrishni clan. So, and the analogy given there is, the sandalwood and the Malaya hills. So, Malaya hills get the famous because of the sandalwood. All right, let's go to today's verse. Prabhu, I will share my screen. Yeah, this is Amrita Das material, Prabhu's material I'm using. This is the same thing. He got some pictures here, so it will be very. Yeah. So as I said, 32 to 36. So he talks about where. Can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yes,
So
Prabhuji.
yes, okay, yeah. 232 talks about two reasons, which already said, to glorify the kings, pious kings, and to deliver, to please his devotees. So he's born in the Yadu dynasty. All right, let's go to 33rd verse. Who wants to read? Maybe you can put your hands up. Swapnil Prabhu, you can start today.
The 33rd or 32nd verse?
Sorry, 33rd. Correct. Good point.
Okay. Let's start.
Yes,
Srila
bro.
Prabhupada ki jai. अपरे वसुदेवस्य देवक्याम. Oops, sorry,
What happened? You lost it?
yeah, it's removed from the
Oh, okay. Just one
screen.
second. 1 second. I was trying to pull something else.
Has it come back?
Oh, no, I'm just rearranging it. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. अपरे वसुदेवस्य देवक्यां याचितोऽभ्यागात् अजस्त्वमस्य क्षेमाय वधाय च सुरद्विषाम्. Translation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Others say that since both Vasudeva and Devaki prayed for you, you have taken your birth as their son. Undoubtedly, you are unborn. Yet you take your birth for their welfare and to kill those who are envious of the demigods. Should I continue?
Yeah, please continue.
Yes. Vasudeva and Devaki previous lives. It is also said that Vasudeva and Devaki in their previous birth are Sutapa and Prashni, underwent a severe type of penance to get the Lord as their son. And as a result of such austerities, the Lord appeared as their son. It is already declared in the Bhagavad Gita that the Lord appears for the welfare of all people of the world and to vanquish the asuras or the materialistic atheists. Sutapa and Prashni beget Lord Prashnigarbha. Rishi Kashyap and Aditi, Lord Vamana. And Vasudeva and Devaki beget Lord Krishna.
Yeah. So, yeah, this verse number 33 talks about another opinion she's giving. Second reason why Krishna is born. He is born to his devotees out of love. Right? So, it's not just one time to the same family, three times. Right? So, as Lord Krishna Garbha, he was born to Sutapa and Prishni, and then Kashyapa Muni and Aditi, Lord Bhavanadev, Trivikrama was born. Then Vasudeva and Devaki, Lord Krishna was born. So why was he born? For the welfare. You are unborn, yet you take birth for their welfare and to kill those who are envious of the demigods. So what does this mean? Welfare of to kill those who are envious of demigod? Who's
Devotees.
this? Who is this referring to?
It's referring to Vaishnavas, devotees.
Vaishnavas.
Because all these
Comes.
demigods are also
Who are
part and
envious of demigod?
who are in yes.
Asuras.
Sutapa, Prishni, they are all
This is basically
demigods.
referring to Lord Vamanadev. See, what is this purpose of his appearance? So he was to
Yeah.
protect from Bali Maharaj. So Bali Maharaj was taking over all the demigods. So Indra prayed.
Yeah.
That's why today also, Vamanadev is said to be the presiding deity of the heavenly planets. Indraloka, the presiding deity of Indraloka is said to be Vamanadev or Trivikrama, because he only gave back, Indra lost all his kingdom to Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj was an undisputed king of the three worlds. So Indra were all working under Vamanadev. And then Aditi prayed to Kashyapa Muni, and then he followed some process. She said, Lord himself will be born to you if you follow this Virat. And then Lord Vamanadev is born there. And then he said he came as a dwarf. We all know the story, right? He came as a dwarf, and then Bali Maharaj, with this pride, said that, I'm so much, you're so much loving boy. So whatever, I keep giving away gifts to so many people. So whatever you need, you just ask. So he said, I'm not a greedy person. I just need 3 feet of land. So he was laughing. You are a dwarf. You are feet. What are you talking? I am owning all the three worlds, and you are asking 3 feet, and you are such a short person. He said, I'm not a greedy man. So whatever required to me, that only I can ask. You can, if you please, if you are able to give me, please give this. And then when he is to give, he says that, yes, I'm giving you. He is offering that 3 steps of land, and then he grows as Trivikrama. He covers everything, all the two worlds. Actually, he 1 feet, he 1 step, he covers all the lower planetary system, and the next step he covers all the higher planetary system, and he asks where to keep the third step. And Bali Maharaj understood, yes, I am the possessor of all these things, and now I give myself to you. You can put it on my head. So that's how Bali Maharaj surrenders to Krishna, right? That's why in the 9 devotional service, Bali Maharaj is said to be in the Atma Nivedita. So he is the example of that. All right, let's go to the next verse. So this is the picture showing Lord Vasudeva and Devaki when Krishna is born in the jail. All right, who wants to read? Vinay Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Bharara bhuvo nava ivo dadhav siddhantya bhuri varena jato he atma bhuvartitaha. Translation: Others says that the world being overburdened like a boat at sea is much aggrieved, and that Brahma, who is your son, prayed for you, and so you have appeared to diminish the trouble. How Lord Brahma is born. Purport.
Okay, one second. Let's stop here before going to the purport. So this is the next reason Kunti Maharani is saying that, earlier she said you are born to appear out of love to devotees and to protect dharma. Now the fourth reason is to destroy the sorry, you appear to diminish people from trouble. Yes. So you're because Brahma Dev requested Lord to appear, so the earth is overburdened all by the demons. So Lord appears to relieve the earth of the demon. So Prabhupada in the purport talks about how Brahma was born. So this title is given here, and now you can read, Prabhu.
Brahma, or the first living being born just after the creation, is the direct son of Narayana. Narayana, as Garbho, the Sai Vishnu, first of all entered the material universe. Without spiritual contact, matter cannot create. This principle was followed from the very beginning of the creation. The spiritual spirit entered the universe, and the first living being, Brahma, was born on a lotus flower grown out of the transcendental abdomen of Vishnu. Vishnu is therefore known as Padmanabha. Brahma is known as Atmabhu because he was begotten directly from the father without any contact of Mother Lakshmiji. Lakshmiji was present near Narayana, engaged in the service of Lord, and still without contact with Lakshmiji, Narayana begot Brahma. That is the omnipotency of the Lord.
Okay. So this picture shows Brahma coming in the lotus. Okay, Lord's potency.
Yeah, Lord and
Continue.
his says, one who foolishly considers Narayana like other living beings should take a lesson from this. Narayana is not an ordinary living being. He is the personality of Godhead himself, and he has all the potencies of all the senses in all parts of his transcendental body. An ordinary living being begets a child by sexual intercourse, and he has no other means to beget a child other than the one designed for him. But Narayana, being omnipotent, is not bound to any condition of energy. He is complete and independent to do anything and everything by his various potencies very easily and perfectly. Brahma is therefore directly the son of Father and was not put into the womb of a mother. Therefore, he is known as Atmabhu, role of Brahmaji. The Brahma is in charge of further creation in the universe, secondarily reflected by the potency of the omnipotent. Within the halo of the universe, there is a transcendental planet known as Svetadvipa, which is the abode of Sirokadayi Vishnu, the Paramatma feature of the Supreme Lord. Whenever there is trouble in the universe that cannot be solved by the administrative demigods, they approach Brahmaji for a solution. And if it is not to be solved, even by Brahmaji, then Brahmaji consults and pray to the Sirokadayi Vishnu for an incarnation and solution to the problem. Such a problem arose when Kamsa and others were ruling over the earth, and the earth became too much overburdened by the misdeeds of the asuras. Brahmaji, along with other demigods, prayed at the shore of the Sirodhaka ocean, and they were advised of the descent of Krishna as a son of Vasudeva and Devaki. So, some people say that Lord appeared because of the prayers of Brahmaji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. You want to read or you have a question? If it's a very quick one.
Very quick question. Since I have been away for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, what are we reading from actually? We are not reading from Vedabase anymore.
This is Veda base only.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because
It's
generally
only
we go to
Veda
the website.
base. Yeah. If you have your book, you can also say it's same thing, but it's put in, in some good format for us to understand.
Okay, pictures and everything.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, this is very clear, right? So this paragraph talks about how Brahma is born. Any question on this? So everyone knows that I don't want to waste time on this, right? He came from Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and who Garbhodaksha Vishnu is actually coming from Karnodaksha Vishnu. So Garbhodaksha Vishnu enters into each universe, and from his navel, Lord Brahma is appearing. So Prabhupada highlights here that Brahma is Atma Bhu. So that means, without even contact of female, generally, the male and female. So the child comes from a female, right? But here, Brahma comes from the navel of Lord himself, Narayana. So it shows that is omnipotency of the Lord. And then, yeah, the same thing is explained in this paragraph. How an ordinary living being begets a child by sexual intercourse, but Krishna, is omnipresent. Any other examples of Krishna's omnipotence anyone can tell?
He is present everywhere.
Dwaraka Prabhu, where he was parallelly available in each and every
Yeah,
palace.
okay.
Like
And
dancing with the other gopis, Prabhu.
Yeah, similar kind of a thing.
Virat Ru.
No, what I'm
Lifting the
saying is
Govardhan hill.
here with this reference of this, I mean, his way is without using his senses. Generally, how does a child is born, right? So the process itself not there. So like that kind of an example I'm looking for. It's a practical example. Day to day, we know that in our house.
Even with his glance, right? This universe
Yeah,
is formed. Yeah, that
yeah. No, I'm
that
saying, we offer prasadam every day, right?
every
So
day.
we all eat from our hand to our mouth, but Krishna's just his glance, with any of the senses, he will be able to accept the bhoga, whatever we are offering. So that just was striking me. I just thought. I know all good examples people were giving here. Yeah. So what is the role of Brahma? So here, Prabhupada highlights on how Brahmaji, does the prayer to Surodaksha Vishnu in the Sveta Deepa. for to removing the burden in this world. Asuras have now increased, so please come and then remove the burden in that. So they did the prayer, so Lord appeared because of prayers of Brahma. So that's one of the reason why Lord appeared. All right, let's go to the next verse. Who wants to read it?
Prabhuji, can I read?
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. भवे अस्मिन् च श्यामानानां विद्या काम कर्मभिः श्रवण स्मरण आहरणानि करिष्यन्निति केचन. Translation. And yet others say that you appeared for the sake of rejuvenating the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshipping, and so on, in order that the conditioned soul suffering from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. Purport.
1 second. Have we missed anything? I don't know whether I jumped anything. No. Yeah. So 1 second before we go to the purport. So what is this reason here? So why Krishna appeared as per this?
For the
Liberate.
sake of rejuvenating the devotional service of hearing.
Yeah. So how can we remember worship?
Chanting, by chanting, first thing.
Yeah. So basically pastimes. Now we are talking about various pastimes of Krishna. Then okay, remembering his pastime, chanting his names. Yes. So what is the benefit? What does it happen once we do that? What is the result of it?
Liberation.
Soul get
Then
regenerated.
Krishna Prema. Let in
Suffering.
Krishna Prema and go to the
Yeah, we
yes,
go back. But first thing is the conditional souls is suffering in this material world from thing. And then that conditioning goes away, then we gain liberation. So the results are also mentioned here. So yet you appear for devotees to do devotional service by hearing, remembering, worshipping, and so on, so that our suffering goes away. Yes, Mataji, please continue.
Yes, Prabhu. Purport. In the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the Lord asserts that he appears in every millennium just to re-establish the way of religion. The way of religion is made by the Supreme Lord. No one can manufacture a new path of religion, as is the fashion for certain ambitious persons. The factual way of religion is to accept the Lord as the supreme authority and thus render service unto him in spontaneous love. A living being cannot help but render service because he is constitutionally made for that purpose. The only function of the living being is to render service to the Lord. The Lord is great, and living beings are subordinate to him. Therefore, the duty of the living being is just to serve him only. Unfortunately, the illusioned living beings, out of misunderstanding only, become servants of the senses by material desire. This desire is called avidya or nescience. And out of such illegitimate desire, the living being makes different plans for material enjoyment centered about a perverted sex life. He therefore becomes entangled in the chain of birth and death by transmigrating into different bodies on different planets under the direction of the Supreme Lord. Unless, therefore, one is beyond the boundary of this nescience, one cannot get free from the threefold miseries of material life. That is the law of nature. The Lord, however, out of his causeless mercy, because he is more merciful to the suffering living beings than they can expect, appears before them and renovates the principles of devotional service comprised of hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping, praying, cooperating, and surrendering unto him. Adoption of all the mentioned items or any one of them can help a conditioned soul get out of the tangle of nescience and thus become liberated from all material sufferings created by the living being, illusioned by the external energy. This particular type of mercy is bestowed upon the living being by the Lord in the form of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So, as we said, this Krishna's appearance for rejuvenating, the process of devotional service. So, Prabhupada in the purport highlights what is the purpose of Lord's appearance. So, anyone remember this verse from Bhagavad Gita?
Yada yada
Yeah, yada yada hi dharmasya
Bhavati
Bharata
Bhagavata Abhyutam
Dhanam
Dharmasya
Dharmasya
Sadatmanam Prajamyaham. Yeah. So he appears in every millennium to re-establish, when the irreligious principles are increasing. So no one can manufacture new path of religion as a fashion. So here Prabhu also highlights the Shastra Pramana is there in the 623 and 624th verse of the 16th chapter, which talks about the divine and demonic nature. So I can read the translation. So 23 talks about he who discards scriptural injunction and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor supreme destination. So we have to follow the religious path. So one should therefore understand what is the duty and what is not the duty by the regulation of scripture. Knowing such rules and regulation, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. All right. So here Prabhupada highlights what is the duties of living entities. So as per this passage, what is the duty of a living entity?
service.
Yeah, render service to the Lord. So that's the last priority what for us we do. We do all other things and we keep this as our last priority. But that should be, we should gradually bring it as a first priority. So that's our constitutional position. What is the purpose of getting this human body is to serve the Lord. We are part and parcel of the Lord. So because of our conditioning nature, because of a struggling situation we are living, we have forgotten the Lord. So the duty of the living being is just to serve Him. So that's what Prabhupada highlights here, the duties of living entities. But why you're not doing it? And the next passage talks about it. Because of ignorance, avidya. There's nothing ignorance. So we are all living entity. We are trapped in avidya. Unfortunately, we are put under illusion, thinking that if I work hard, if I take another job, if I take a third job, so my life will be very much settled. I can get everything. So how many of us thought when coming to Sydney or Australia, your life is, with honey and gold everywhere. But we know that there are different kind of struggles different people face in different ways, right? So that's because of the illusion in which we are. Unfortunately, the illusion out of misunderstanding only. So that desire or near science is called avidya. So therefore, which puts us into entanglement in a change of samsara, the birth and death. Unless one is beyond the boundary of neoscience, one cannot get freedom from the threefold miseries of material life. Right? We all know what are the three folds.
Adi Devik, Adi
Adibhautika,
Atmik, Adi Bhautik.
Okay, Adi Atmika means what? Only one of you?
self, within the body
Yeah.
itself, right? Yeah.
Miseries due to body and mind. Yeah. That is Adi Atmika. What is Adi Bhautika?
Miseries
Earthquake,
from
calamities.
That is
Because
Adi
of others.
Devika.
From
That is
other
Adi
living,
Sorry, that
Devika.
is Devik. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of others.
Other living
Adi
entities.
Bhautika because of other living entities. So all our miseries falls under these three categories. So miseries due to ourself, our mind, our body, leg pain, body pain, mentally thinking of something negative, puts us into different kind of suffering. The neighbors, give you problem, your friends give you problem, or your enemies give you problem. So all the other living entities, not only human, maybe in different forms also they can give. So Adi Bhautika, they all fall under that. Third is, like natural calamities like drought, flood, tsunamis, and other things. So these cause the third miseries. So we cannot get freed unless one is beyond this ignorance. We cannot be freed. So that is the law of nature. So how can we get freed? So the process also is mentioned here. It's only first thing we need to get the mercy of the Lord. How do we get the mercy of the Lord? Again is the cycle, doing devotional service. He is more merciful to the people who are suffering. So, and renovates the principle of devotional service, hearing, chanting, remembering. Now, what are the 9 processes of devotional service? Anyone, 2 to each?
Shravanam,
Smarana,
Kirtanam,
Yeah,
Vishnu.
next.
Padasevanam, Smaranam,
Yeah.
Dasyam,
Archana.
Dasyam,
Vandanam,
Atma
Dasyam,
Nivedanam.
Atmanivedana.
Atmanivedana.
Sakyam,
Okay,
Atmanivedam.
Dasyam
good.
Sakyam.
Let's now go in the sequence now. Okay, let me start with what is the first one? First is
Shravanam.
Shravanam. Yes, hearing.
Shravanam,
Okay, second,
Kirtanam,
Kirtanam.
Kirtan.
Kirtanam. Okay, glorifying. Third,
Vishnu
Smaranam,
Simran.
Smaranam,
Smaranam, remembering. Yes. Fourth,
Padasevanam, Padasevanam,
Archanam. I don't
yeah, I
Padasevanam,
think Pada Sevanam.
know.
And
Padasevanam,
then comes Archanam,
Archana.
Vandanam,
Vandanam. Then
Dasyam,
Dasyam.
Dasyam.
Then
Dasyam.
Sakyam.
Sakyam,
Sakyam.
And
Sakyam.
Atma
Atmanivedam.
Niveditam. So these are the 9 process of devotional services. Right. So yeah, Prabhupada says Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this Yuga, Kali Yuga, and he's showing. Okay. All right. I think this we have discussed sometimes back, right? Quickly, it shows about the 6 kind of avatars: Leela avatar, Purusha avatars, Guna avatar, Shakti Avesha avatar, Manvantara avatar, Yuga avatars. All right. Jai Dharma Prabhu, you want to read next?
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you. श्रवन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्ति अभीक्षणः स्मरन्ति नन्दन्ति तवेहितं जना त एव पश्यन्ति अचिरेण तवाकं भवप्रवाहो परमं पदाम्बुजम्. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. Purport.
So, okay, this is another reason is giving. So, the reason actually is the potency of the devotional service. So, what happens if someone performs, continuously hearing, chanting, and repeat Lord's various activities? So, they get liberation. Basically, it's talking about they come out of all the material miseries and then they get liberation. So, purport.
Qualification.
Yeah, first paragraph highlights what is the qualification to see Krishna.
The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna cannot be seen by your present conditioned vision. In order to see him, one has to change his present vision by developing a different condition of life full of spontaneous love of Godhead. When Sri Krishna was personally present on the face of the globe, not everyone could see him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Position of materialists. Materialists like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Jarasandha, and Shishupala were highly qualified personalities by acquisition of material assets, but they were unable to appreciate the presence of the Lord. Therefore, even though the Lord may be present before our eyes, it is not possible to see him unless we have the necessary vision. This is necessary qualification is developed by the process of devotional service only, beginning with hearing about the Lord from the right sources. The Bhagavad Gita is the one of the popular literatures which are generally heard, chanted, repeated, etc. by the people in general. But in spite of such hearing, etc., sometimes it is experienced that the performer of such devotional service does not see the Lord eye to eye. The reason is that first item, sravana, is very important. If hearing is from the right sources, it acts very quickly. Generally, people hear from unauthorized persons. Such unauthorized persons may be very learned by academic qualification, but because they do not follow the principles of devotional service, hearing from them becomes a sheer waste of time. Sometimes the texts are interpreted fashionably to suit their own purposes. Therefore, first one should select a competent and bona fide speaker and then hear from him. When the hearing process is perfect and complete, the other process becomes automatically perfect in their own way. There are different transcendental activities of the Lord, and each and every one of them is competent to bestow the desired results provided by hearing process is perfect. In the Bhagavatam, the activities of the Lord begin from his dealings with the Pandavas. There are many other pastimes of the Lord in connection with his dealings with the asuras and others. And in the 10th canto, the sublime dealings with his conjugal associates, the gopis, as well as with his married wives at Dwaraka, are mentioned. Since the Lord is absolute, there is no difference in the transcendental nature of each and every dealing of the Lord. But sometimes people in an unauthorized hearing process take more interest in hearing about his dealings with the gopis. Such an inclination indicates the lusty feelings of the hearer. So, a bona fide speaker of the dealings of the Lord never indulged in such hearings. One must hear about the Lord from the very beginning, as in the Srimad Bhagavatam or any other scriptures, and that will help the hearer attain the perfection by progressive development. One should not therefore consider that his dealings with the Pandavas are less important than his dealings with the gopis. We always must remember that the Lord is always transcendental to all mundane attachments. In above mentioned dealings of the Lord, he is the hero in all circumstances, and hearing about him or about his devotees or combatants is conducive to spiritual life. It is said that the Vedas and Puranas, etc., all are made to revive our lost relation with Him. Hearing of all these scriptures is essential. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, very nice verse. This is very popular verse. Talking about Shrunuvanti Gayanti. So this is the process of hearing, chanting, then remembering. So one who continuously hears, chant, and recites his transcendental activities takes pleasure in others doing so. So it's not that you yourself do it, you know. So you want to get liberation, right? And so you want to do here, you want to chant, not that only. You take pleasure in seeing others doing the same thing, others hearing about Krishna Kada, others chanting the Lord, others doing devotional service. So that's what is the highlighting here. So a devotee takes pleasure in others doing this devotional service. So sometimes, I keep saying to devotees, keep chanting, keep chanting. People give so many reasons why they are not chanting because of that busy schedule and other things. So it's not that we are trying to force someone to get into the practice of devotional service. So we want others also to take pleasure in doing these activities. So that's the main behind it. So that's what here Kunti Maharani is talking about here. Because this alone can stop us from the repetition of birth and death. So that's the potency of this devotional service. Not only that, while you're here also, it gets away from us from all the material miseries. Yes. Here Prabhupada highlights what is the qualification to see Krishna. Right. So what's the qualification, Prabhu?
Hearing from a bona fide acharyas. bona fide discipline succession,
Yeah.
right sources from scriptures,
Yeah.
Guru Sadhu Shastra.
Okay. So what is Prabhupada in this passage talking about? What you said is all correct, but there are other reasons mentioned here. One should change their vision of developing a loving relationship with the Lord. So in Brahma Samhita, there is one verse. I don't know what the starting of it. Anyone knows that verse?
Seeing with the eyes, love of
Yeah, annotate your lies. Prema anchana churiyata.
Churita Bhakti Vilochana.
Bhakti vilochana. Yes. So your eye should be annotated with the love for Godhead. So with that vision, we have to see. It's not that you are ordering, oh God, I'm chanting, I am serving you food, I am doing arati, I am doing this, but why are you not appearing? But missing off the element of love, God is not going to be in your vision. If you have that love, you can see God all the time. So when will I get that love for the God? So that should be our prayer. Our prayer should be when will I get, when the great acharyas like Bhakti Vinod Thakur and all has written this. They are all great, but still they say, I am so much fallen. When can you give me your vision? What should I do for that? So that's the answer here. With full of love, our eye should be annotated with the love of God, and then we do our activities. Then we can see Krishna. That's the qualification. Even materialistic, like Ravana, no, he was able to see Lord Ram, Jarasandha, Sishupala, Kamsa, right? So with material asset, so is that's a good qualification to see Lord? But they don't, and they did not appreciate the Lord. They took him as his enemy. So even the Lord was before their eyes, they couldn't see them as the Lord. Duryodhana already always felt that Krishna is actually a mystic yogi. He is a Mayajal, magician. So he didn't see the Lord. So how do we become qualified for that? By reading scriptures. Prabhupada highlights Bhagavad Gita is one of the popular literature. Hear Bhagavad Gita, hear Bhagavatam repeatedly. Through, as Prabhu mentioned, through the proper, Guru Parampara succession, not by Tom, Dick and Harry. So first reason is Shravanam. So even in the first devotional process, whatever we take as hearing is the main process. So my one more question, how long do you think you will be able to see God? What is the time frame?
It's all Lord's mercy only, Prabhu. Whenever His mercy.
Okay.
And second is our efforts.
Second is our effort. Okay.
How deep
But
we
No, as
want to
per,
really see
Puranic
him.
or Shastric, can you quote someone the minimum time? It can be minimum, it can be, one Mugurta also there, like, what was that? Katwanga, King Katwanga, Maharaj, Katwanga Maharaj, for him, just one Muhurta, 48 minutes is enough for him to surrender to Lord. No, I'm not saying that surrendering, I'm just saying this is talking about vision to seeing the Lord. We all talk about, doing the devotional process. We discussed about the 9 devotional processes and other thing, right? Now, can you give an example? All of you know this if I tell you that answer. From Bhagavatam only it is there. A person saw the Lord within a period of 6 months. Let me give you the time also. Who's that?
Dhruva Maharaj.
Dhruva Maharaj. Exactly. He took up the devotional practice at the age of 5, and Narada Muni, he said this is a very dangerous way you're taking up devotion process in the forest. So he did not want to allow him because a lot of wild animals are there, but still he had the determination, the dridavrit, the determination. That's very important for us. He had, even though he went for devotional service for in a materialistic way. So he wanted a kingdom much greater than his great grandfather Brahma, right? Even though his approach was materialistic, but later on he felt, I did all these prayers for a material thing. It was like a broken glass. That's what he felt, right? So in 6 months' time, he could have the vision of the Lord. All right, good. So common mistakes. What are the common mistakes that we do? Try to hear from unauthorized source, especially this people who are new to Krishna consciousness when to come. Generally people at that time want to, get more knowledge. You try to go to different path, different people and try to understand, and then ultimately end up totally confused. I've seen many people like that. They will have one hand in ISKCON, they will have in some another path, they will go and listen other thing. Especially it's very difficult for people to get easily carried away from different things when they are new to a spiritual life. Unless you are steady, you are in the process of ashakti, attachment, and then to understand how Krishna consciousness is different from others, yes, trying to understand, at that level is fine. But then for a new devotee, neophyte, it's always good to go into the Guru Parapara path. So unauthorized path. First you have to understand, find out from where, what is the source things are coming. So as you know in ISKCON, we basically follow Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. It's coming through the Guru Parapara process. All the teachings of Bhagavad Gita also through Guru Parapara. Even Bhagavad Gita, there are so many authors there, but nothing like reading Bhagavad Gita as it is. As Prabhupada put in the way, Krishna wants us to understand what he has spoken. So here Prabhupada highlighting how hearing process, which is the first one should have, so how important it is. And now one should select a competent and a bona fide speaker and hear from him. When the hearing process is perfect and complete, the other process becomes automatically perfect. So we are all hearing from what Prabhupada has given us. So he is our Acharya. So it's a perfect and complete. So then Prabhupada highlights on how we should approach Bhagavatam. So many people want to directly go to the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. He says the process is to go through the first cantos in the same order in which it is presented. All right, let's go to the next verse. Nityagati Mataji, you want to read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Mataji.
Apyadyanastvam swakarte hita prabhu jihasasi switso surado nujivina ye samna chanyat bhavata padambuja parayanam rajasu yojitam hasaptam. Hare Krishna. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Srila Ki Jai. O my Lord, you have executed all duties yourself. Are you leaving us today? Though we are completely dependent on your mercy and have no one else to protect us, now when all kings are at enmity with us. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So she says we are all depend on your mercy. There is no one else to protect. So now are you leaving? That's the question Kunti Maharani is asking. Just put this vision in your eye. So Krishna is about to leave Hastinapur to Dwarka. Okay, purport.
Sure, Prabhuji. What is fortune and misfortune? The Pandavas are most fortunate because, with all good luck, they are entirely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. In the material world, to be dependent on the mercy of someone else is the utmost sign of misfortune. But in the case of our transcendental relation with the Lord, it is the most fortunate case when we can live without completely dependent on Him. Material disease of being independent. The material disease is due to the thinking of becoming independent of everything. But the cruel material nature does not allow us to become independent. The false attempt to become independent of the stringent laws of nature is known as material advancement. of experimental knowledge. The whole material world is moving on this false attempt of becoming independent of the laws of nature. Examples: beginning from Ravan, who wanted to prepare a direct staircase to the planets of heaven, down to the present age, they are trying to overcome the laws of nature. They are trying now to approach distant planetary systems by electronic mechanical power. How to work in this material world. But the highest goal of human civilization is to work hard under the guidance of the Lord and become completely dependent on Him. The highest achievement of perfect civilization is to work with valor but at the same time depend completely on the Lord. Examples: the Pandavas were the ideal executors of this standard of civilization. Undoubtedly, they were completely dependent on the goodwill of Lord Shri Krishna, but they were not idle parasites of the Lord. They were all highly qualified both by personal character and by physical activities. Still, they always looked for the mercy of the Lord because they knew that every living being is dependent by constitutional position. The perfection of life is therefore to become dependent on the will of the Lord instead of becoming falsely independent in the material world.
Hare Krishna.
Anna,
Just we'll
Hare
stop here.
Krishna. Sure, Prabhuji.
We will discuss and then we'll get back to that. So here, as I said, this was now talking about how Kunti Maharani feels that how the Pandavas were so much depending on the mercy of the Lord, how he protected them. So there's no one else for us to protect except you. So it shows the surrendering nature of Kunti Maharani. Now everyone, now when all the kings are enemies with us, you are the only person who we can come forward, dependency. So Prabhupada in his purport says, what is fortunate, what is misfortunate. So fortunate is Pandavas, they had the good luck with they always had the mercy of the Lord. They were fully dependent on the mercy. If it's not there, that's the signs of misfortunate. So if the Lord's mercy is not, so why is Lord mercy we are not getting? Because sometimes many times we feel that we are not dependent, we are independent. We can take care of everything. So when we live completely dependent on them, then the Lord mercy flows to automatically. So Prabhupada highlights how we are under the material disease of being independent, thinking that we are independent, but the material nature does not allow to act independent. The whole material world is moving on this attempt, thinking that I am independent of the law of nature. We are exploiting the nature, but we cannot exploit the law of nature. So here example Prabhupada gives how Ravana or even Hiranyakashipu we can talk about how they wanted to exploit the situation. How to work in this material world. So we have to work completely depending on the Lord on each and everything. The highest achievement of civilization is work with the valor, but at the same time depend completely of the Lord. So it doesn't mean that we don't do our endeavor. Like someone has said, our efforts also should be there. Doesn't mean, oh, I'm fully dependent on Lord. Lord will take care of everything and we cannot sit idle. Our valor should be there. Our effort should be there. At the same time, everything we should be depending on the Lord. So again, Prabhupada give the example how Pandava was executed. All right. So we all know that example, like how Arjuna wanted only Krishna in the war in their side, while as Duryodhana, not bothered about Krishna. He wanted all the army, the Pandava Sena. That's what he wanted. So he got it also. So the materialistic mind look at that way. So that's it. So completely dependent. Pandavas were completely dependent on Lord Krishna. All right, let's continue, Mataji. Anyone wants to add anything on this before we continue? Yeah, Mataji, continue.
Sure, Prabhuji. Anasa and Sanasa. Those those who try to become falsely independent of the Lord are called Anas, or without any guardian, whereas those who are completely dependent on the will of the Lord are called sanas, or those having someone to protect them. Therefore, we must try to be sanas so that we can always be protected from the unfavorable condition of material existence. How Mahatmas acts. By the deluding power of the external material nature, we forget that the material condition of life is the most undesirable perplexity. The Bhagavad Gita therefore directs us 7.19 that after many, many births, one fortunate person becomes aware of the fact that Vasudeva is all in all, and that the best way of leading one's life is to surrender unto him completely. That is the sign of a Mahatma. All the members of the Pandav family were Mahatmas in household life. Maharaj Yudhisthira was the head of these Mahatmas, and Queen Kunti Devi was the mother. The lessons of the Bhagavad Gita and all the Puranas, specifically the Bhagavad Puran, are therefore inevitably connected with the history of the Pandav Mahatmas. For them, separation from the Lord was just like the separation of a fish from water, separation from the Lord. Srimati Kunti Devi therefore felt such separation like a thunderbolt, and the whole prayer of the queen is to try to persuade the Lord to stay with them. After the battle of Kurukshetra, although the inimical kings were killed, their sons and grandsons were still there to deal with the Pandavas. It is not only the Pandavas who were put into the condition of enmity, but all of us are always in such a condition, and the best way of living is to become completely dependent on the will of the Lord and thereby overcome all difficulties of material existence. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. So, okay, so you're talking about anartha and sanartha. Anartha means falsely being independent of the Lord. Sanartha means we are fully dependent on the Lord. So, what path should we be taking?
Sanat.
Sanartha, yes.
Yeah.
We should always be protected from unfavorable. So, Lord protects from putting us into all the kind of troubles. So, how Mahatma acts? So, Prabhupada quotes this Bhagavad Gita verse Bhagunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavam Nam Prapatyante Vasudevam Sarvamidhi
Sarvamiti
Sarvamatma
Paramatma Sudurlabha.
So after many, many births, one fortunate person, understands that Vasudev is Sarvam. So he is everything. And then ultimately surrenders. So Jnanavam, this is basically meant for jnanis. Jnanis, they are all having so much knowledge, keep on taking birth. But ultimately, after a long, many, many, many births, they understand that Lord is the Supreme. Vasudeva is Sarvam. But we are all have to follow the path of bhakti so that we can quickly get into the path, understand Krishna is the Supreme, and then become a Mahatma quickly. So all the members of the Pandava family were Mahatmas in household life. So that's what Prabhupada highlights. Maharaj Yudhisthira was head of all these Mahatmas and Kunti Devi and the mother. Right. For them, separation from the Lord is just separation like a fish out of water. All right, let's go to the next verse. Who wants to read it?
I can
I
read,
can
Prabhu.
read.
Yes, Ranjita Mataji. Who was
Okay,
else?
Prabhuji.
Sorry, better you can put your hands up so that, all the pictures I can't see in the face. Whoever is on the video, I can see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kevayam nama rupabhyam yadyubhi sah pandava bhavto darshanam arhashi rishikanami veshituh.
Yeah. Translation.
As the name and fame Yeah, as the name and fame of a particular body is finished with the disappearance of the living spirit, similarly, if you do not look upon us, all our fame and activities, along with the Pandavas and Yadus, will end at once.
Yeah.
Dependence on Lord
Your voice is breaking, Mataji.
that due to
Hare Krishna. Can others hear, or I am having an issue?
I can also not hear her properly. It's breaking.
Hello? Yeah, Mataji is breaking. Okay, read to Mataji. You want to read the
Hare
translation?
Krishna.
The purport?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
Mataji.
now
Now
it's
it's
better.
fine.
Yeah. Yeah, now it's better.
Okay.
Continue, Mataji. Can you continue? I think I've lost
Moral,
her. Yeah.
morality personified. And the Yadus are undoubtedly great allies, but without the guidance of Lord Krishna, all of them are non entities, as much as the senses of the body are useless without the guidance of consciousness. Act on the basis of real understanding. No one should be proud of his prestige, power, and fame without being guided by the favor of the Supreme Lord. The living beings are always dependent, and the ultimate dependable object is the Lord Himself. We may therefore invent by our advancement of material knowledge all sorts of counteracting material resources, but without being guided by the Lord, all such inventions end in fiasco. However strong and stout the reactionary elements may be.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. So yeah, so this verse is talking about, without Krishna, the Pandavas and Yadus lose all their strength. So just the presence, the example given, without the soul in this body, I mean, the body is dead, so it's useless, right? Because of the presence of the soul. So it is without Krishna, the Pandavas are nothing, or the Yadus are nothing. All the trends are nothing. So they may be great heroes like Arjuna, Yudhisthira, Bhima, but without Krishna, there's their name or fame is not there. So the dependency of Krishna is so highlighted here. Kunti is quite aware of existence of Pandavas only due to Krishna. The name and fame was established just because of him. So then Prabhupada says how we should act on the basis of real understanding. So we should not be proud of our prestige, power, fame, without being guided by Supreme Lord. The living being should be always dependent and ultimately depend object of Lord himself. All right, let's go to the next verse. Someone else were asking that you want to read.
Yeah, Prabhu, I can read.
Yeah, Ankit Prabhu.
Uh, Niyam sobhishyate tatra yathe danim gadadhara त्वत्पदैः अंकिता भाति स्वलक्षणा विलक्षिता. O Gadadhara Krishna, our kingdom is now being marked by the impressions of your feet, and therefore it appears beautiful. But when you leave, it will be no longer so.
Okay, another reason she's giving for him not to go away from there. If you leave, all your footprints will be missing. Okay, let's see what's Krishna Prabhupada saying here. So this is one of the picture Prabhu has highlighted here. All the various markings on his hands and legs. Yeah, Prabhupada mentions that in his purport. Yeah, please read the purport, Prabhu.
Marks on the hands and feet of Lord. There are certain particular marks on the feet of the Lord which distinguish the Lord from others. The marks of a flag, thunderbolt, and instrument to drive an elephant, umbrella, lotus, disc, etc. are on the bottom of the Lord's feet. These marks are impressed upon the soft dust of the land where the Lord traverses. The land of Hastinapur was thus marked while Lord Shri Krishna was there with the Pandavas, and the kingdom of the Pandavas thus flourished by such auspicious signs. Kunti Devi pointed out these distinguished features and was afraid of ill luck in the absence of the Lord. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So the power of Lord's lotus feet. The kingdom becomes beautiful from his footprints. So it's the power is not just by the wealth, just the fault Lord's, dust of his lotus feet. Yeah. Who else want to read?
Prabhu, can I?
Yes, Prabhu. I can't find.
Ime jana pada sridha supak poshadhi viruddha vanadri nadya danvanto hiya edantatva vikshite. All these cities and villages are flourishing in all respects because the herbs and grains are in abundance. The trees are full of fruits, the rivers are flowing, the hills are full of minerals, and the ocean full of wealth. And this is all due to your glancing over them.
Okay. So yeah, she highlights now without your glance, nothing will grow. Herbs, grains. Today I'm finding all of them in abundance with full of fruits, the rivers beautifully flowing, hills full of minerals. But if you leave us, everything will be gone. So let's see how Krishna through all the demigods giving us the wealth. All right.
What is real prosperity? Human prosperity flourishes by natural gifts and not by gigantic industrial enterprises. The gigantic industrial enterprises are product of godless civilization and they cause the destruction of the noble aims of human life. The more we go on increasing such troublesome industries to squeeze out the vital energy of the human being, the more there will be unrest and dissatisfaction of the people in general, although a few only can live lavishly by exploitation. Gifts of
Yeah.
nature. The natural gifts, such as grains and vegetables, fruits, rivers, the hills of jewels and minerals, and all and the seas full of pearls are supplied by the order of the Supreme, and as he desires material nature produces them in abundance and restricts them at times. The natural law is that the human being may take advantage of these godly gifts by nature and satisfactorily flourish on them without being captivated by the exploitative motive of lording it over material nature. The more we attempt to exploit material nature according to our whims of enjoyment, the more we shall become entrapped by the reaction of such exploitative attempts. If we have sufficient grains, fruits, vegetables, and herbs, then what is necessity of running a slaughterhouse and killing poor animals? A man need not kill an animal if he has sufficient grains and vegetables to eat. The flow of river waters fertilizers the fields, and there is more than what we need. Minerals are produced in the hills and the jewels in the ocean. If the human civilization have sufficient grains, minerals, jewels, water, milk, etc., then why should it hanker after terrible industrial enterprises at the cost of the labor of some unfortunate men? But all these natural gifts are dependent on the mercy of the Lord. What we need, therefore, is to obedient to the laws of the Lord and achieve the perfection of human life by the devotional service. The indications by Kunti Devi are just to the point. She desires the God's mercy be bestowed upon them so that natural prosperity be maintained by His grace. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So this verse 40 talks about the power of Lord's glance. How his glance brings abundant herbs, grain, prosperity in the rivers, minerals, trees, and stuff like that. So Prabhupada highlights in the purport. So the natural gift of the Lord, through all the vegetation what's given. So, but then we go towards the gigantic industrialization. And then today we talk about all the climatic changes and, hole in the ozone layer and the super El Nino, all this stuff now. So he says that these are increasing to troublesome to squeeze out the vital energy of human being. So not only that, it will also create unrest and dissatisfaction in people. And only, the imbalance between rich and poor happens. Although few can live. So we can see one side, more people become rich, you know, and the kind of richness is one day they be rich with the stock values high, and next day they may go pauper also. So that's the kind of a world we are living in today. But nature's gift of grains, vegetables, fruits, supplied through the order of Supreme. Then why Prabhupada asks the questions, why are we running the slaughterhouses and killing animals? So again highlights that this nature gifts also depends on the mercy of the Lord. So that's why Kunti Maharani is saying, if you are now going to leave, what will happen to all the prosperity we are seeing now. All right, let's go to the next verse. Swapnil Prabhu, you want to read?
Sure, Prabhuji. अथ विश्वेश विश्वात्मन विश्वमूर्ते स्वकेषु मे स्नेह पाशमिमं छिन्द छिन्धि दृढं पाण्डुषु वृष्णीषु. Translation by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. O Lord of the universe, soul of the universe, O personality of the form of the universe, please therefore sever my tie of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis, asking favors from the Lord.
Okay, now one second. Now she
Sorry.
is going to a next level. Now she wants to get detached because of her attachment with her children, the kingsmen, Vrishni and her family. Right? Now she says, now I want to sever my tie of affection. So this is the kind of prayer she is doing. All right, Prabhu, continue.
Yes. Continuing, asking favors from the Lord. A pure devotee of the Lord is ashamed to ask anything in self-interest from the Lord. Real self-interest. That's part mentioned in the Vedabase. But the householders are sometimes obliged to ask favors from the Lord, being bound by the tie of family affection. The reason for Kunti Devi's request to sever ties of affection. Srimati Kunti Devi was conscious of this fact, and therefore she prayed to the Lord to cut off the affectionate tie from her own kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. The Pandavas are her own sons, and the Vrishnis are the members of her paternal family. Krishna was equally related to both the families, but the families required the Lord's help because both were dependent devotees of the Lord. Srimati Kunti Devi wished Sri Krishna to remain with her sons, the Pandavas, but by his doing so, her paternal house would be bereft of the benefit. All these partialities troubled the mind of Kunti, and therefore she desired to cut off the affectionate tie. Cutting off ties with family for greater good. A pure devotee cuts off the limited ties of affection for his family and widens his activities of devotional service for all forgotten souls. The typical example is the band of 6 Goswamis who followed the path of Lord Chaitanya. All of them belonged to the most enlightened and cultured rich families of the higher castes, but for the benefit of the mass of population, they left their comfortable homes and became mendicants. To cut off all family affection the field of activities. Without doing this, no one can be qualified as a Brahmana, a king, a public leader, or a devotee of the Lord. The personality of Godhead as an ideal king showed this by example. Sri Ramchandra cut off the tie of affection for his beloved wife to manifest the qualities of an ideal king. Such personalities as a Brahmana, a devotee, a king, or a public leader must be very broad minded in discharging their respective duties. Request of Kunti Devi. Srimati Kunti Devi was conscious of this fact And being weak, she prayed to be free from such bondage of family affection. The Lord is addressed as the Lord of the universe or the Lord of the universal mind, indicating his all powerful ability to cut the hard knot of family affection. Therefore, it is sometimes experienced that the Lord, out of his special affinity towards a weak devotee, breaks the family affection by force of circumstances arranged by his all powerful energy. By doing so, he causes the devotee to become completely dependent on him and thus clears the path for his going back to Godhead.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So this verse 41 verse is talking about Kunti Devi's inner conflict. Oh, till now, the last few verses, she was talking away. If you go away from this place, what the vegetation will go. Your glands, without your glands, nothing will be there. Your footsteps, foot dust should be on our land, and all these things. Now she feels. Now her conflict is, her families. Now, if you leave Pandavas, we will suffer. But then, because if you are with us, you will be away from your family. That is nothing but the Vrishnis dynasty. No, they are also her relative, right? It's her parental relative. So the Vishnu family who's in Dwaraka, now Krishna, without if he doesn't go there, he will be away from them. So that's the conflict now she is facing. So now she wants to sever ties with both Pandavas and Vishnus. That's what is highlighting here. The reason why she wants to sever ties here. Both the families requires Lord help, who are dependent on the Lord. So Srimati wished to remain so for her sons, but by doing so, a parental house would be bereft of their benefits. So therefore, she tried to cut out all the affectionate ties. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Prabhuji, can I just say something? I mean, I'll not take too long,
Yeah.
but is this document shared with everyone or is it just a property of yourself?
This is nothing but the purport.
But the Vedabhas doesn't have such descriptiveness.
Why not? It's totally Veda based.
Okay, maybe I'm not checking it right.
You check it.
Yeah, it's the
Anyone?
same thing I'm reading from the book also.
Only thing is there is the headings given
Heading,
here.
heading.
That's all. The only thing, the request of Kunti Devi, one is which is blue. All the yellow part is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Only thing, this green and blue are not in that. Just some references there. Okay. Vinay Prabhu, you want to read? Or Sadhana Mataji, anyone?
कृष्ण त्वयि मे अनन्या विसाया मति मधुपते असकृत रतिम उद्वहतद अधा गंगे वाघम उदन्वति. Translation: O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flow to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn onto you without being diverted to anyone else. Purport: Perfection of Bhakti. Perfection of pure devotional service is attained when all attention is diverted towards the transcendental loving service of the God. What does cut off the ties means? To cut off the tie of all other affection does not mean complete negation of the finer elements like affection for someone else. This is not possible. A living being, whoever he may be, must have this feeling of affection for others because this is a symptom of life. The symptom of life, such as desire, anger, hankering, feeling of attraction, etc., cannot be annihilated. Only the objective has to be changed. Desire cannot be negated, but in devotional service, the desire is changed only for the service of the Lord in place of desire for sense gratification. The so called affection for family, society, country, etc., consists of different phases of sense gratification. When this desire is changed for the satisfaction of the Lord, it is called devotional service.
Okay, just we'll stop here. So here, this was talking about the, so like she wanted to sever her ties with her family, right? In the previous words is highlighted. Now, what is the purpose? Sometimes people will say, I want to leave away all my connection with family and then want to take up, devotional service or something like that. But what happens is they will neither be in the family nor in devotional service. They may try to do devotional service, but the mind will be in the family, which is they cut off. Right. So here that what she's giving an example, analogy of how without any trouble, how the Ganges is flowing into the sea without obstacles. So my attraction to the Lord should be without any diversion. So when we are doing devotional service, cutting off some relationship, our mind should not be on that one. Our mind should be there. So it should not be an obstacle. So so that's what Prabhupada highlights in this. What does cut off ties means? So a living being, whoever he may be, must have the feeling of affection of others because that is the symptom of life. So the symptom of like desire, anger, everything is there. But only thing what we have to do is cutting off the ties means just not going away from the family or something like that. Our attraction, our whatever action, everything should be dovetailed for the service of the Lord rather than for sense gratification. That's what is highlighting here. Instead of we doing everything, for the family, that, this, and other things. So our um, desires, our feelings, everything, not just yours, the entire family should be dovetailed as a service for the Lord. That's what is being highlighting. So Prabhupada says that is what is devotional service. That is what is bhakti. Devotional service, nothing but bhakti. So dovetailing our desires, everything for the service of the Lord. That's the tie tie. We are severing the ties with the materialistic things. All right, please continue, Prabhu.
Yeah. Changing of desires by hearing. In the Bhagavad Gita, we can see that Arjuna desired not to fight with his brothers and relations just to satisfy his own personal desires. But when he heard the message of the Lord, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, he changed his decision and served the Lord. Result. And for his doing so, he became famous devotee of the Lord, for it is declared in all the scriptures that Arjuna attained spiritual perfection by devotional service to the Lord in friendship. The fighting was there, the friendship was there, Arjuna was there, and Krishna was there, but Arjuna became a different person by devotional service. Kunti Devi prayers serving without diversion. Therefore, the prayers of Kunti also indicate the same categorical changes in activities. Srimati Kunti wanted to serve the Lord without diversion, and that was her prayer. This unalloyed devotion is the ultimate goal of life. Our attention is usually diverted to the service of something which is non godly or not in the program of the Lord. When the program is changed into service of the Lord, that is to say, when the senses are purified in relation with the service of the Lord, it is called pure, unalloyed devotional service. Srimati Kunti Devi wanted the perfection and prayed for it from the Lord. Serving Lord
No,
means
that is this add-on. Yes. Serving the Lord, devotees of the Lord.
her affection for the Pandavas and Krishnas is not out of the range of devotional service because the service of the Lord and the service of the devotees are identical. Sometimes service to the devotee is more valuable than service to the Lord. Cutting of relation based on skin. But here the affection of Kunti Devi for the Pandavas and the Vrishnis was due to family relation. This tie of affection in terms of material relation and the relation of Maya because the relation of the body or the mind are due to the influence of external energy. Relation of the soul established in relation with the Supreme Soul or factual relation. When Kunti Devi wanted to cut off the family relation, she meant to cut off the relation of the skin. The skin relation is the cause of material bondage, but the relation of the soul is the cause of freedom. The relation of the soul to the soul can be established by the via medium of the relation with the super soul. Seeing in the darkness is not seeing, but seeing in the light of the sun means to see the sun. And everything else which was unseen in the darkness, that is the way of devotional service.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, as I already said, cutting off the relation is based on the skin. The material bondage is only cut off. It's not the relationship. We can always have Any relationship has, we are all part and parcel of Krishna. Yes, Prabhu, Jai Dharma Prabhu. Want to do the next words?
Thank you. Sri
You're choosing
Krishna.
all nice words, Prabhu. Very nice.
It just
Just
I'm
appearing,
choosing
yeah,
after
Lord's
Vinay
mercy.
Prabhu.
You are getting a mercy.
After Vinay Prabhu, I was just choosing. I did not
Yeah, very
finish.
nice.
Sri Krishna Krishna Saka Vrishni Rishabhava Nidruk Rajanya Vamsadahananupavarga Virya Govinda Godvija Surati Haranuvatara Yogeshwarakhila Guru Bhagavan Namaste.
Very well.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O Krishna, O friend of Arjuna, O chief amongst the descendants of Vrishni, you are the destroyer of the political parties which are disturbing elements on this earth. Your prowess never deteriorates. You are the proprietor of the transcendental abode, and you descend to relieve the distress of the cows, the brahmanas, the devotees. You possess all mystic powers, and you are the perceptor of the entire universe. You are the Almighty God, and I offer you my respectful obeisances.
Hare Krishna. So this is the concluding verse of Kunti Maharani's prayer, where she summarizes all the glories of Krishna. So he says, "You are the destroyer of all the political party which are disturbing the world. So your powers never degrades. You are the proprietor of, the spiritual world, and you come down, you descend, just to save the cows, brahmanas, and the devotees, and you have all mystic powers. You are the preceptor of the entire universe, and now you're the Almighty God. I offer you respect." Okay, Prabhu, purport.
A summary of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is made herein by Srimati Kunti Devi. The Almighty Lord, his eternal transcendental abode, where he is engaged in keeping the Surabhi cows. He is served by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune. He descends on the material world to reclaim his devotees and to annihilate the disturbing elements in groups of political parties and kings who are supposed to be in charge of administration work. He creates, maintains, and annihilates by his unlimited energies, and still he is always full with prowess and does not deteriorate in potency. The cows, the brahmanas, and the devotees of the Lord are all the objects of his special attention because they're very important factors for the general welfare of living beings. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So that was the concluding verse of Kunti Devi's prayers. Now let's see what is Krishna is going to do. Who wants to read? Nitika Mataji. Nitikati Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Sutta Uvacha. Prabhuji, can you scroll a little bit down? Just
Oh,
the
okay. Yeah.
first one. Thank you. Prithyetattham kalapadaye parinuta kilodaya mandajas Vaikuntha mohaya niva mayaya. Hare Krishna. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sutta Goswami said, the Lord, thus hearing the prayers of Kunti Devi, composed in choice words for his glorification, mildly smiled. That smile was as enchanting as his mystic power. Hare
After
Krishna.
hearing the long Shruti of Kunti Devi, Krishna gave a very mild smile. It
Yes.
means so much has meaning to it. Let's see what Prabhupada is saying that.
Representation of Krishna's opulences. Anything that is enchanting in the world is said to be a representation of the Lord. The conditioned souls who are engaged in trying to lord it over the material world are also enchanted by his mystic powers, but his devotees are enchanted in a different way by the glories of the Lord, and his merciful blessings are upon them. His energy is displayed in different ways as electrical energy works in manifold capacities. Uttam Shloka. Srimati Kunti Devi has prayed to the Lord just to enunciate a fragment of his glories. All his devotees worship him in that way by chosen words, and therefore the Lord is known as Uttam Shloka, referring to the Veda base. No amount of chosen words is sufficient to enumerate the Lord's glory, and yet he is satisfied by such prayers as the Father is satisfied even by the broken linguistic attempts of the growing child. The word Maya is used both in the sense of delusion and mercy. Herein the word Maya is used in the sense of the Lord's mercy upon Kunti Devi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Prabhupada mentions here the analogy here is energy is displayed in different ways as electrical energy works. The same electrical energy can be used for heating and the same thing can be used for making cooling effect. So she has used all the chosen words to praise the Lord. So he is called the Uttama Sloka. No amount of chosen word is sufficient to glorify the Lord. Yet he is happy, such like, a father is satisfied even by a broken linguistic attempt by the child. All right, so the next section we move on to Lord's interaction with aggrieved Maharaja Yudhisthira. So who's there? I think hardly few people are there. Bhupesh Prabhu or Ankit Prabhu or Rakesh Prabhu?
I can read too.
Yes, Prabhu.
Tam bhaddam iti uppamantaya pravishya gaja saha swayam striyascha swapuram yasya temna rajana nivateha. Thus, accepting the prayers of Srimati Kunti Devi, the Lord subsequently informed other ladies of his departure by entering the palace of Hastinapur. But upon preparing to leave, he was stopped by King Yudhisthira, who implored him lovingly.
So what has happened? So he accepted the prayers of Kunti Maharani and then he's entering into the palace. Now, another key thing here is subsequently inform other ladies of his departure. So it shows how Krishna is giving importance to Matajis. But upon preparing to leave, he was stopped by King Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira is stopping him from leaving for Dwarka. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Lord's love and respect for King Yudhishthira. No one could make Lord Krishna stay at Hastinapur when he decided to start for Dwarka. But the simple request of King Yudhishthira that the Lord remain there for a few days more was immediately effective. This signifies that the power of King Yudhishthira was loving affection which the Lord could not deny. The Almighty God is thus conquered only by loving service and nothing else. He is fully independent in all his dealings, but he voluntarily accepts obligation by the loving affection of his pure devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Actually, there are so many reasons behind this. Actually, this Sunday, I am giving a class on this verse only at Bhakti Center. So there are so many reasons behind this. Prabhupada's has put a very small purport here. So Krishna knows what he has. So like how he did, the Bhagavad Gita, how Krishna within the heart of Arjuna, put him into illusion and the Bhagavad Gita came out. Now Yudhishthira Maharaj is putting, in the heart. Yudhishthira Maharaj already is, mentally he's after the war, he felt that he has done so many sinful activities. He has killed people, so many families dislocated. And after all these things, I should be an emperor of this world. So he was having that kind of a thing. And another thing here, he stopped because of loving service. Right. So the point here going to come is the next chapter that is about uh, taking all this Pandavas to Bhishma Dev. So to get Bhishma's wisdom. So the Pandavas need the wisdom of Bhishma. So Krishna making that arrangement. So he's staying back to them. All right, let's go to one more verse. Bhupesh Prabhu, yeah. We'll finish off this verse 46th.
व्यासादेर ईश्वरे हाग्यः कृष्णेनाद्भुतकर्मणा प्रबोधितो अपीतिहासैर्नाबुध्यत शुचारपितः. King Yudhishthira, who was much aggrieved, could not be convinced despite instructions by great sages headed by Vyasa and the Lord Krishna himself, the performer of superhuman feats, and despite all historical evidence. Maharaj Yudhisthira lamentation. The pious King Yudhishthira was mortified because of the mass massacre of human beings in the battle of Kurukshetra, especially on his account. Internal consciousness of pure devotees. Duryodhana was there on the throne and he was doing well in administration, and in one sense there was no need of fighting. But on the principle of justice, Yudhishthira was to replace him. The whole clique, small group of people of politics centered around this point, and all the kings and residents of the whole world became involved in this fight between the rival brothers. Lord Krishna was also there on the side of King Yudhishthira. It was said that Mahabharata Adi Parva 20, that 640 million men,
64 crore or
six-
640 million, yes.
640 million men were killed in the 18 days of the Battle of Kurukshetra, and some hundred of thousands were missing. Practically, this was the greatest battle of the world within the 5,000 years. Nobody could convince Maharaj Yudhisthira. This mass killing simply enthroned Maharaj Yudhisthira was too mortifying, so he tried to be convinced with evidences from histories by great sages like Vyasa and the Lord himself that the fight was just because the cause was just. But Maharaj Yudhisthira would not be satisfied even though he was instructed by the greatest personalities of the time. Why did Krishna fail to convince? Krishna is designated herein as the performer of superhuman actions, but in this particular instance, neither he nor Vyas could convince King Yudhishthira. Does it mean that he failed to be superhuman actor? No, certainly not. The interpretation is that the Lord as Ishvara or the super soul is the hearts of both King Yudhishthira and Vyasa performed still more superhuman action because the Lord desired it. The super soul of King Yudhishthira more superhuman action because the Lord desired it. As super soul of King Yudhishthira, he did not allow king to be convinced to the words of Vyasa and others, including himself, because he desired that the king hear instructions from the dying Bhishma Deva, who was another great devotee of the Lord. The Lord wanted that at the last stage of his material existence, the great warrior Bhishma Dev see him personally and see his beloved grandchildren, King Yudhishthira, etc., now situated on the throne, and thus pass away very peacefully. Bhishma Dev was not dissatisfied to fight against the Pandavas, who were his beloved fatherless grandchildren, but the Kshatriyas are also very stern people, and therefore he was obliged to take the side of Duryodhana because he was maintained at the expense of Duryodhana. Beside this, the Lord also desired that the King Yudhishthira be pacified by the words of Bhishma Dev, who so that the world could see that Bhishma Dev excelled all in knowledge, including the Lord himself. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Prabhu, will stop here. Yeah, it's already finished. Okay. All right. Thank you, Prabhu. So already I've crossed 9 o'clock. I'll stop here. There are any questions or any suggestions or any reflections, happy to do. Those who want to leave can also leave if you want.